Next tonight, a Rochester youngsters has had a remarkable year on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament circuit. 10-year-old Elliott travelled far and wide in 2018, collecting 22 gold medals from the 25 competitions he entered. Elliott's now considered one of the biggest rising stars in Kent sports, and I'm pleased to say he's in the studio now along with coach Lee Johnson and his dad Steve. But first, here's a look at what he can do. So Elliott was just seen there. You look pretty good at that. Tell me what it is exactly that you do.
Well, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I train quite a bit. I train 4 days a week and I do lots of competitions. And last year I had a very successful year with 25 competitions and 22 goals, which I was hoping I would get really close to my goal, and I've completed my goal, and hopefully this year I'll get more than 22, and then hopefully the years after that I will get even more, and hopefully when I'm older I will be like famous and people will know me, and I'll get to be known by lots of other people, and I'll make lots of friends.
So repeat that again. How many medals did you win again last year?
I won 22 golds and about 7 silver and bronzes.
And you're how old?
10.
That's amazing. Lee, you're his coach. Yeah. Did you ever expect him to have the year he had last year?
I guess we could see it a little bit because he was on the cards, you know. The students, they work their way up. And Elliott this year, or last year should I say, he'd done really well. The year before weren't as good, but he was starting to improve a little bit more. And then when they find their footing in the game, they start doing really well. So yeah, it's really good.
And Steve, you must be extremely proud of everything he's doing. Tell me a bit about why Elliott got involved in it all.
Well, we were looking for a sport for him to get into because when he was little, he had an awful lot of energy, very bouncy, and we looked around at a few different sports and tried him out a few things. But we saw Combat Sports Academy in Strood was running kids MMA classes, so we started taking him to those on Saturday morning. And it turns out he had a bit of a natural affinity for it. Really enjoyed grappling, really enjoyed the sort of rough and tumble of it all. And after a few months, we put him into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes, which are a little bit more sort of formalised. It's a proper sport, and it sort of went from there, really. He just took to it like a duck to water.
You mentioned that he took to it like a duck to water. Were you ever expecting that when he first started doing it?
Well, like I say, he very quickly showed that he had kind of a natural affinity for it. I think in his first lesson, one of the coaches just remarked he's just done a perfect sit-out, which is a move where you escape from somebody trying to get on top of you. And but yeah, so it just very quickly sort of like we thought, well, maybe we'll keep at this. And as you heard, 4 years later, he's lighting up the competition scene.
And Elliott, we've just got some of your medals here, and of course this amazing looking belt. Which one would you say, if you had to pick one out, or which one would you say you had to work the hardest to get? I'm assuming it's this big belt.
Yeah, well, because all of my fights, like when you go to European, they're always like really strong and really hard to fight because they're always really technical. But yeah, the belt was probably one of the hardest competitions that I've done
And tell me,
It's one of my
where was this belt from? What did you have to do to win that?
This was from Holland. We travelled in a ferry and we went there. It was like really busy. It was like really tense in there. But I had lots of support from from one of my friends and my parents and my grandpa. And I just really enjoyed myself, and I made a new friend there, and it was great.
It sounds amazing. And Lee, you must have been with him throughout all of these things as well as Steve. I'm sure you came along for a lot of this as well. Lots of travelling involved. You really did rack up the miles as well.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, a lot of the time it's through the parents like Steve, that their dedication, because they go to a lot of them. Sometimes we can't even get to the European ones and things like this. We have a dedicated kids coach as well. Then he goes to a lot of the competitions. So it's not just myself, there's a whole team that's involved, you know. And without the help of the parents and all the other coaches, it can never be possible. And of course, the students. So.
And in terms of, you must have lots of people who you coach as well. But in terms of, future prospects and hot prospect, Elliott must be right up there as being one of the best.
Yeah, he's one of the. We have a little competition team, and he's one of the lads at the front of it at the moment. You know, so all the other members have grown up, so now they're in the adult teams, and he's like one of the heads for the youngsters, which is really cool.
And Steve, you've been travelling with Elliott around, going here, there, and everywhere. It must seem like. What's that been like?
It's great fun. I mean, I've kind of made it my hobby, because I'm on the road so much with Elliott. I think last year we did 6,000 miles driving around the country, Elliott and I, and sometimes with a bunch of kids from the gym, but quite often it was just me and Elliott driving to Birmingham or Newquay or Plymouth, and it's good fun. Really enjoy it, and we're able to spend hours bonding in the car on our way out to these competitions, and it's great.
And how far do you think Elliott can go?
I hope he can go all the way. I think if he keeps working hard, he'll be a black belt one day. Lee will be able to, attest to how difficult it is to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, how much hard work there is in it. But I think Elliott's, he's been working hard at it for 4 years now, and I think he's going to be in it for the long haul.
And finally, Elliott, from yourself, where do you think you're going to be? Who are you looking up to try and be like?
When I grow up, there's one coach called Dan, and he really pushes people, and he's really nice, and he says I'm not here to be your friend, but he's really nice, and he always pushes me and says try to do your best.
Well, you sounds like you're really nice like Dan, so best of luck. Hopefully you can emulate him, and as I say, thank you very much for coming in. That's it for Team Talk tonight. We'll see you again next week.